welcome to the Everyday Entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have Darrin. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah, pleasure to be here, you guys. My name's Darrin Glesser. I am a crypto consultant as well as a life coach specializing in financial freedom. And those kind of two things go hand in hand with the crypto and whatever you want to do in life that makes you feel free to do whatever and not worry about money being the thing that holds you back.
Yeah. You have anything to add, Chris?
No, I'm ready to get into it and hear what they
Yeah.
say and get his perspective on crypto. I remember last time I think we were talking about how you want to first educate people on crypto, and then also connect that with building financial freedom and stuff like that, right? So for me, on a personal level, I'm interested to hear about that from your side.
Yeah, I mean, really, it starts with my own journey where, being a newly entrepreneur and not necessarily knowing, how am I going to raise the funds for my business, or can I depend on getting enough clients? And so I started kind of looking into other realms, and Bitcoin got on my radar about 2020, right around the time that it started going back to 20,000, its all-time highs. And I thought Bitcoin was like dead in the water, but apparently it came roaring back. And I just took a chance. I was like, I'm going to get in on this. I don't want to miss the boat this time around. And that ended up being a really good decision because it went from like 20,000 to about 40,000 in about 3 months after I got in. So that was a good start.
I think we all FOMO'd on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely FOMO hit me hard.
yeah. You're like, damn, I knew about that, right? I mean,
seriously.
I was really kind of getting into 2017. I was playing with it, just like, man, I was just looking at it like big picture of the amount it was, but seeing from where it was to where it went, and then coming back down. I never thought that it would come crashing down, but I would just never thought it would be as, at the level it's at now, and just sustaining that level throughout the last couple of years or so.
Yeah, man, you and everybody else. I think most people just thought it was a bubble and it popped and it was dead. And, I started to do a little research and realized, holy crap, this is potentially the future of finance. It's a lot bigger than just an investment. This could change our whole monetary system. So
we would like to ask you a few questions of that. Let's start with that, with the whole what is decentralized and what is centralized within crypto?
Yeah, good question. So, Bitcoin was one of the very first decentralized monetary systems. Up until that point, everything was centralized, meaning your bank, we all deal with banks and somebody owns that bank, so basically there's always has to be a middleman. If you want to get a loan, you got to go to the bank. If you want to get a car, like it all has to go through the bank, which is centralized. And with centralization comes potential corruption, comes potential, greediness that isn't necessarily geared towards helping the little man, which just wants to try to invest wisely and be able to afford the basics in life. And so Bitcoin came around in 2009 and just changed that whole system around, where they said, look, we don't need a middleman.
Right.
If I want to exchange, money between you and me, we can do it directly. We don't need a middleman. So they came up with using cryptography, which is like, to keep everything safe and secure, a way so that you and I, peer to peer, they call it, can exchange funds, and we don't need anybody in between. So that's decentralized.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. That shines a light about, like, exactly the central bank, and then decentralized and decentralized, where you go from person to person. So I have another question for you. This is a good one as well. What do you think about stable coins?
Stable coins. Yeah. I think that they are potentially a huge part of the crypto sphere moving forward, because what a stable coin is basically is it's pegged to the dollar.
Right.
So meaning like a stable coin will never be above $1 and will never be below $1.
Yeah. Do you think this is something that more of a safer bet? Because, but they're still going into the whole crypto. I mean, from what I'm understanding, is like, majority, like some of the people that are like traditional, right? This will be something for them. And then now, how does that so if that particular stable coin, like how does that play into the system? I
Mm.
mean, are they just there?
Well, the way it works is you have what you call pairings when you do trading.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to trade Bitcoin, you can trade your stable coin. Let's call it the most popular one, which is Tether USDT, and it pairs with Bitcoin. And so you trade your stable coin for your Bitcoin, and it keeps you out of dollars. You're no longer going USD, which is US dollars, to Bitcoin. You're actually going from a stable coin to a Bitcoin. And there's a lot of reasons why you might want to do that. Some of those are tax related, because you're not actually, well, the tax system is still kind of being figured out. But as it is right now, the stablecoin system keeps it away from taxes a little bit more. So there's some reasons there, as well as you can actually get APY from stable coins. So you can actually get rewards for just holding stable coins, which you can't really get for your USD dollars. If you go to a savings account bank, what's the APY these days?
0.5. One.
Yeah, exactly. And what's inflation again? Remind me, isn't it like
We're
7.9? Yeah. So if you hold your US dollars in a savings account, you're losing money,
Right.
So there's some cool offerings with stable coins where you can get APY up to 5, 10, even 20% right now, which is pretty insane. So stable coins are going to be huge. I also do see some regulation coming from the government in the near future around stable coins. So I would say it's still the wild, wild west, and we haven't totally hit our balance yet of where those are going to end up, but a lot of potential.
Well, Uncle Sam always got to have their hands into
Yeah.
They're always dipping their hand in the cookie jar,
and
right?
they're gonna try to figure that one out. All right, we're gonna keep it rolling. We're pretty hot right now.
Well, wait. Well, on stablecoin, real quick, is that attached to Bitcoin or Ethereum? Is that something I have no idea about stablecoins?
Yeah, so there are dozens of different stable coins, dozens. And some of them are attached to different networks. Some of them are actually centralized stable coins. Some of them are decentralized stable coins. So there's a whole universe of stable coins. There's not one that's directly attached to Bitcoin, and there isn't one that's directly attached to Ethereum either. But there are some that are directly attached to other networks.
So stablecoin is fairly new, right? So they is it kind of new? I mean, this is the first time I just started hearing this in the last few weeks actually.
I want to say the first stable coin came out around 2015, maybe a little bit before. I think Tether was the first one, but there's a lot of other stable coins now that are kind of getting more. People are wanting to move towards other stable coins because there's some potential conflict of knowing, is Tether legit? What are they backed by? There's some question marks there. So yeah.
And is that what you wanted to do, is trying to educate people on what the difference is what particular coins are and what's attached to, and the safety of each coin and stuff like that, and the legitimacy of each coin, because that's kind of like the misconception or conception of crypto in the whole, is like how stable, how secure is it, right?
Absolutely. There's so many fears around crypto. Like, is it only for drug dealers? And do people use it to launder money? And is this all a Ponzi scheme? Yeah, black market. And so I try to sort of yeah, I try to kind of get the truths and the false, of all the coins. So I've done my own research and just explain it to people in a very basic way. I do a workshop called Crypto Basics 101, which is just like, okay, what is Bitcoin? What is a blockchain? And just from the ground floor, explain what it is and then getting into the projects and what they do, and because there are thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies. So how's the everyday person supposed to
Right.
know, you know?
Right, and this is why you have these classes. And I think what you're doing for the people with that is, definitely it's yeah, it's a good way to, for people to understand if they're interested into it. But definitely, if you already don't have a mentor, check out a class with Darren, and
Definitely.
sit into a couple
Good stuff.
class. You might learn a lot pertaining to cryptocurrency and what type of different coins there are. Yeah, so Darren, that's quite interesting. Me, I'm learning about stable coins too, and I'm like, wow, really? That's exactly how you said it, which is pretty cool. The next question I have is, uh, um, why would people want to invest in crypto? It's a general question, and I'm sure you get that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it comes down to it's a new system that the decentralized aspect of it is what I think we can all relate to, not wanting to have the government in a hand in what we do in the banks. And so if you believe that is a system in itself that is kind of the future of where you'd like to see your money go, then that's a reason alone. But I think the biggest reason that I got involved was to make money. Like we all want to make some money, and crypto's in its infancy. It really is. Like I'd say, maybe in the next 10 years, we might be to a market cap where crypto starts to level off a little bit. But we're way early. So think about where Amazon was when it first started, and Google and Facebook. If we could go back in time and get in on these technologies when they first started, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
So the potential to make a lot of money, right?
Do you
So
think? Do you think Bitcoin would go in 100,000?
oh, easily 100,000. I actually think Bitcoin is destined to hit the $1 million mark at
Uh-huh.
some point, and I would say in the next 10 years, because it's simple math. Bitcoin is really considered digital gold. That's the way that the investors and institutions are seeing it. And if you look at the gold market cap, it's around, I think, 11 or 12 trillion dollars. And so if Bitcoin were to get to gold's market cap, because it's so comparative to gold, then we're talking 500,000 to $1 million per Bitcoin.
Wow, that's
So
a lot of
because
money,
because
guys.
how the central banking system used to be, the Federal Reserve used to be attached, or USD used to be attached to gold until
it did.
I think the Nixon, the term of
Right,
Nixon
That's
president,
right.
right.
he
It
decentralized,
was
or he detached
Became
that,
a
right?
promissory note.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I think they called it the gold standard or
gold
something
standard.
like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
There's only so much in circulation right now, right? Like how many bitcoins are in circulation, right? Like
so there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. That's the way Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever that is that created Bitcoin,
yeah,
we
the
don't know
15th
who that is.
person, you don't know who that is. Yeah.
No, could be a group of people. We really don't know.
Right.
But there's 21 million, and I think 3 million is already lost, because in the early days, people bought Bitcoin and put it on a hard drive. The hard drive
Got
busted.
lost.
They can't. Yeah, it's lost.
Right. And then
So
there's also this cryptos that being confessed by the government, like from
Confiscated.
I don't know if it's true, but
confiscated.
yeah, confiscated. But from what I heard, like the FBI held like the third most Bitcoin in the world.
Yeah, I think it was recently they confiscated about $2 billion worth of Bitcoin from somebody who hacked it like back in 2016. So anybody who thinks that the government can't keep their eye on this and is worried about stuff like that, no. The FBI, they have ways of getting the hackers and the people that are trying to steal. So it's not something that criminals can just take advantage of.
Right. And that's within the security, I think, yeah, you made a good point. It's yeah, there's a lot of people definitely gonna try, but to hack into these things, just like I think even just your regular platform like Coinbase, how many attempts they get from people trying to hack into their database. And I'm sure other institutions too are going through the same thing. But Yeah, I mean definitely a very interesting topic. But since we're on this, and I want to add to the question, um, uh, what are the trading skills that you know a person needs to learn how to do this? Is this something like, is it like really difficult, or is it something that relatable to the stock market? How can
Mhm.
people like you know uh, get that what they call the trading skills? So what kind of trading skills?
Yeah, good question. So when I think of trading skills, I think of more like day trading skills. And that's a very different type of investment than somebody who's just a long term hodler. And hodler just means holding on.
Yeah, for long term.
Your life, yeah.
Yeah, hold on for dear life. So if you want to be a day trader and do things like that, you really need to learn technical analysis skills. Just like you would for stock market, it is actually no different.
Is it?
The,
Oh, I was gonna say, is there? Because I have a little bit of knowledge in the stock market as far as day trading and technical analysis. Is it similar? Is it comparable to Bitcoin as far as like indicators and charts and all that?
Yes, it's completely comparable. That's the cool thing. Like if you've had any experience day trading stocks, you're going to carry over to Bitcoin and crypto easily. The only difference you're going to notice is quite a bit more volatility than
Yeah.
you do in the stock market. So you might see that kind of volatility with like tech stocks and like low cap stocks where there's a lot of volatility. But in crypto, that's like an average Tuesday.
They're like, oh
Like
look,
one
it went
o'clock in
up.
the
Oh
morning.
look, it's all the way down.
Oh, and that's the other thing, like you said, 1 o'clock in the morning, it's 24/7. So crypto never stops. So,
Right.
but yeah,
that,
I would say
that was the
learn your
kind of thing.
TA skills. What's that?
I was just gonna say that was kind of the thing, right? It was like because the stock market, as far as on the West Coast, ends at 1 o'clock, right? So it's like,
Right.
well, what am I gonna do from one till the next morning of the stock market? Well, there's crypto, right? I can make money on that side, right?
Yeah, you can do crypto till you're blue in the face. It never ends. So, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I'm actually more I'm actually more of a hodler.
Emotional damage,
Yeah.
doing that, right? That's a lot of stress there.
Yeah. And then there's also the middle ground, which is what we call swing trading, where maybe you buy in and then you're looking for a certain like sell point, and that could take a week, it could take a month, it could take 2 months. So you're
Right.
looking for just swing targets. So you buy low and you sell high, and I think that that's a pretty good way to do crypto as well.
That's awesome. I mean, this my next question kind of like resonates to that, which is what is the mindset for trading crypto?
Hmm.
Like, how would
Okay. I have a few rules that I've learned from my own like failures. Number one, the mindset is don't go chasing green candles, and I think that this goes with anything in stocks. Like it's our inclination to want to buy when things are going up, and we actually have to do the opposite of that. It takes so much restraint, but it's like if it's pumping, just chill, just let it'll come back down. Believe me, it will come back down. So be patient and buy those red candles, buy the dips, we call it. And really, I would say the other mindset is patience. I actually believe in dollar cost averaging, which means you buy over time. You buy a little bit once a week, maybe, or
right?
once every 2 weeks. And that way you get the average price out of all those dates. Because none of us, as good as your TA is, technical analysis is, it's still not good enough. You
Right.
know,
And you
absolutely, if you can.
So what's the best
Right.
way of doing that? Is averaging down. Just say if someone invested $1,000 and they used up all their that buying power. And then are you always just trying to fund your account and always having staying ready? So when at time there is an average cost, you're always trying to average down on all of your
Yeah.
power.
So I think the key is to not put it all in the beginning. If you have $1,000, why not spread that out $100 over even 10 months potentially? Like you could do it once a month, or you could spread that out over 6 months, and do it so you just divide whatever amount you have to invest into little bits is one way to do it. And another way to do it is, let's say you have $1,000 and you only put $100 in. Well, what's the 900 going to do while it's just sitting there?
Right.
But you could put that into a stable coin, and that's where stable coins come into play. And then you could be getting some APY from that stable coin while you're waiting to invest it. And what you could do is you could put it in like on a calendar every week, every month, whatever that date is, and or you could wait for a big dip to happen. So you could say, okay, anytime there's a 20% dip in my whatever one I'm following, I'm going to put in X amount of dollars. So that's another way to do it, is buying the dip when it happens. So that means you need to watch the market. You need to keep your eye on it, versus dollar cost averaging. Typically, you don't even watch the market. You just put it in like clockwork.
Right.
So.
Oh, you're just always buying like reoccurring investment. Right?
Exactly. And I think there's some platforms, including Coinbase, that lets you do that automatically. You don't even have to like do it manually. It'll just take out $100 or whatever.
How do you feel about those platforms as far as Coinbase, for example, or is there any other ones? Because I know Coinbase's fees are crazy too, right? I mean, it's kind of
yeah. I mean, I think Coinbase is probably one of the safer exchanges. They are a centralized exchange, meaning somebody owns Coinbase, they're a company. But I do think that they are pretty safe compared to all the other exchanges out there. And if you do Coinbase Pro, which is free, just like Coinbase is, you can use your same sign-in actually from regular Coinbase to Coinbase Pro. The fees are actually much more reasonable, I found. So I'm a big Coinbase Pro fan. I use that predominantly. Also, Coinbase Pro is probably the quickest to get your money from your bank into crypto and then taking it back out if you want. It's the quickest to do that. So I like Coinbase.
From my understanding, yeah, I got put on Coinbase Pro a few months ago, and from there on that platform, you can actually like do the day trade, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because a buddy of mine was teaching me how to trade in channels within like time frames, like timetables of, okay, say within an hour, you know, you're seeing based on the support and resistance levels within a 15-minute breakdown, you can trade within a channel. But give and take, if you wanted to do that, you need to have a lot of units to trade to make significant amount of, you know, gains.
Volume.
Volume, right? So you're just
Right.
trading within the channels, right? So if it's between here and here, you're just trading here and then you're out, right? Depending on how the market or how this crypto is moving. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of skill, but I know a lot of people who do it successfully. Another way to trade within channels is to get a robot to do it for you.
Really? You did do that too?
I personally haven't used. They call them bots. Not like an actual like physical robot, but there's programs.
Software.
Yeah, it's the software, and you can just program it in the channels, and you tell it to when to buy, when to sell, and so it will do that for you. And that I've heard it can be very effective. I haven't done it myself, but I would trust a bot maybe over my own ability to do the channel kind of trading, which can be challenging.
Out, right?
No emotion. The bot doesn't care. It just does what you tell it to.
That is the biggest factor.
That is the biggest factor. I think that is market in whole, right? Stock market, crypto market, right?
It is.
You know, psychological battle within the market.
Right. And that's when I talked about don't go chasing green candles. What happens is we get greedy because it starts going up. And so we want in. And then the same thing happens when it goes down. We get scared and we sell. And that's the best way to lose money, like to do it that way.
All those paper handers.
Oh, man, guilty with that one too.
Oh, man. Yeah. Don't get me started in my own personal story with that stuff.
So one of the quotes that I think goes around both the stock world and the crypto world, said by Warren Buffett, is be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. So essentially, do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, and you're good.
Right.
Pretty good. All right, Darrin. Where can people find you, and what is your next event? Can you tell us about what's going on with you in the next few months, and when you're gonna have another workshop?
Yeah. So the best way to reach out to me probably would be Instagram. You can follow me at D Glesser. That's DGLESSER. You can also just email me, which is a great way to just connect if you want a consultation directly from me. That's darringlesser@gmail.com. And just stay tuned for when I post the next workshop. I typically do them on weekends. I don't have a next one set yet, so you're just gonna have to follow my Instagram to see when I post the next one. So yeah, but I do 3 workshops. They're usually about 2.5 hours. I go through all the basics, and it's a great introductory lesson into the crypto universe.
Thank you for doing this interview with us, Darrin. We are definitely going to check you out. Please check out Darrin. We'll have all the information on the chat box, or not in the chat box, but definitely in the screen. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is Everyday Entrepreneur. Oops. Thanks
Thanks for having me.
We will try